China's move to stop recognizing the UK-issued British national overseas passport for Hong Kong residents has kicked in from Sunday. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Zhao Lijian announced the decision on Friday, adding that China reserved the right to take further actions. This came after the British government moved to offer millions of the passport holders a potential route to full citizenship with the right to live in Britain. The British decision came in response to China's introduction of a national security law in Hong Kong. Zhao Lijian condemned the UK's move.
The British side has repeatedly expanded its application scope, trying to turn a large number of Hong Kong people into the second-class British citizens, which has completely changed the original BNO nature inscribed in the Memorandum of Understanding between the two countries. The so-called BNO now is no longer what it was. This action of Britain has seriously violated China's sovereignty, grossly interfered in Hong Kong affairs and China's internal affairs, and seriously violated international laws and basic norms governing international relations. China is strongly indignant and firmly opposes this. Starting from January the 31st, China will no longer recognize the so-called BNO passport as a travel document and ID certificate, and reserves the right to take further measures.
Also on Friday, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson said his country was providing new route for Hong Kong BNO holders to make their home in the UK, and the policy stood up for the shared value of, quote, freedom and autonomy between the UK and Hong Kong. So who can apply this BNO visa, and what does this mean for the UK?
The new visa program was announced by the UK government, taking effect from this Sunday, January 31st, 2021. It offers existing BNO passport holders and eligible family members the chance to live, study, and work in the UK for up to 5 years. Then they can apply to settle permanently, with the chance of getting citizenship after a further 12 months. During the process, they're entitled to state education and health services, but can't claim welfare benefits. This move is a new departure in UK policy, coming many years after BNO passports were first issued in 1987, 10 years before Hong Kong returned to China. It followed Beijing's introduction of a new national security law in Hong Kong, partly aimed at quelling a sometimes violent protest movement. The passport had long been seen as mainly a travel document that didn't carry citizenship rights. It allowed holders to visit the UK visa-free for 6 months, but not to live there or access public funds. Recently, the UK government has estimated that there are 2.9 million BNO status holders eligible to move to the UK. So what could the economic implications be for the UK? Data from the UK National Status Office show the number of people claiming unemployment benefits hit 2.8 million in May last year, the highest since 1993. And experts are predicting this number could surge to 3.5 million this year as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. But under Prime Minister Boris Johnson's offer, BNO holders from Hong Kong could be able to apply to work in the UK before gaining citizenship. Critics say the strain on the system would be too great.
I don't think that the government has actually thought through its policy on Hong Kong and what it would mean if these 3 million people were coming into Britain. I think they've just picked a number out of the air in order to annoy the Chinese government without thinking through the consequences of what they're doing.
Beijing's anger has indeed been palpable. Starting from this Sunday, China is no longer recognizing the BNO passport as a travel document and ID certificate. Wan Xiao, CGTN.
For more insight into this, let's talk to Professor Liao Fan with the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences. Thank you very much for joining us, Professor. So let's start with Foreign Ministry spokesperson Zhao Lijian's remarks. He said the British government has changed the original nature of BNO passports and visas. What does that mean exactly?
Well, basically, BNO passport or BNO holders, it's just a Chinese citizens who reside in Hong Kong SAR and hold the so-called British national overseas passports. Based on the memorandum annexed to the 1984 Joint Declaration between China and the UK, that document, that passport mainly served as a travel document. BNO holders are neither British citizens nor do they have the right of residence in the UK. So that was actually a transitional arrangement between the two countries in order to solve the problems left over from history and to facilitate the return of Hong Kong to China. So by adopting this new policy, this so-called 5+1 years policy, the British government has done a serious deviation back from its previous commitment, and that was actually a serious provocation against the Chinese side. That's my understanding.
So how will the latest Chinese decision stop recognizing BNO passports as a travel document or proof of identity? How will that affect current BNO passport holders?
Well, we didn't see, but the immediate consequence would be that if those passport holders, they use the BNO passports to travel to other countries, they will no longer be entitled to Chinese consular protection in the relevant countries. And if during the 5+1 year period, if the UK somehow change their minds, change the policy again, then they run the risk of being trapped in between. I mean, they cannot land safely on the British Islands, and they cannot swim back to China. And also, I noticed that actually the Foreign Ministry spokesperson said China reserves the right to take further actions, which, I mean, based on my understanding, could be further limitations on the right, I mean, civil or political, of the BNO passport holders.
Now, the Foreign Ministry also said this new decision by the British government is to make BNO passport holders second-class citizens in the UK. What does that mean?
Because, as we know, actually, with these BNO passport holders are not, I mean, British citizens by nature. Yes, now with the new policy, they will be able to apply to reside in the UK for 5 years, and after that, try to apply for a permanent residence. But as we know from the news period just now, they cannot enjoy the public welfare during that period. So, I mean, that was definitely not as the same as the British citizens in, I guess that's the meaning of the spokesperson said was a second-class citizen of the UK.
Now, we noticed that this announcement is from China's Foreign Ministry. Does that mean the ministry itself has the final say regarding what kind of document is valid or not?
I mean, the answer is the central government has a right, because based on the basic law of Hong Kong SAR, it is the central government who has the right related to the foreign affairs regarding Hong Kong SAR. The central government authorizes Hong Kong SAR to conduct certain external affairs in accordance with the basic law, but the final say is definitely still within with the central government. That's for sure.
Thank you very much, Professor Liao Fan with the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences. In Hong Kong, there has been criticism of the UK and support for China from several quarters. Former Chief Executive Leung Chun-lin, who is now Vice Chairman of China's top political consultative body, said Britain's action brought disgrace on its own head. Tam Yo-chan, a member of the Standing Committee of China's top legislature, said Britain had breached trust and justice and violated the Sino-British agreement on Hong Kong. He said it was natural for the Chinese side to take countermeasures. Hong Kong's Justice General Teresa Chan said Britain had no sovereignty, jurisdiction or right of supervision over Hong Kong. You're watching Global Watch on CGTN.